It's the kind of news that makes you stop in your tracks. Brandon Blackstock, the man who was once at the center of Kelly Clarkson's world, has died at just 48 years old. A life cut short far too soon, leaving behind questions, memories, and a trail of emotions that are almost impossible to put into words. For those who followed their whirlwind romance, high-profile marriage, and turbulent divorce, this moment feels like the end of a very public, very human chapter, one that was marked by love, heartbreak, and now, an irreversible finality. When Brandon first came into Kelly's life, he wasn't just another face in the crowd. He was charming, confident, and deeply embedded in the music industry, carrying with him the legacy of his father's career. Kelly, at the height of her own stardom, was swept up in his charisma. Their connection was electric, the kind of instant chemistry that feels destined, as if two paths had been quietly moving toward each other for years. In 2012, they made their relationship public, and by 2013, they were married in a romantic ceremony that seemed to seal the promise of forever to the outside world. It looked like a perfect match, a country boy with a savvy business mind and America's sweetheart, the powerhouse voice behind some of the most beloved songs of a generation. They had two beautiful children together, adding to the sense that this was more than just a marriage. It was a dream life unfolding before millions of fans. Brandon also became a stepfather to Kelly's two children from a previous relationship, stepping into a role that seemed to come naturally to him. Family, for a time, was the heartbeat of everything they did. But as anyone who has lived through love knows, the image from the outside is rarely the full story. Over the years, whispers began to surface about tension, differences in priorities, and the strain that comes when careers, personalities, and ambitions pull in different directions. In 2020, the world was stunned when Kelly filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. What followed was not a quiet separation. It was a highly publicized, deeply complicated unraveling of a shared life. Legal battles over custody, finances, and property spilled into the public sphere, turning their breakup into something far more raw and exposed than either could have imagined. For Brandon, the aftermath of the divorce was a turning point. He retreated from the spotlight, spending more time on his Montana ranch, far from the stages and cameras that had once been part of daily life. Friends described him as introspective during this period, a man taking stock of what he had gained, what he had lost, and what he wanted from the years ahead. While his marriage to Kelly had ended, his role as a father remained a source of deep pride and responsibility. His children were his anchor, the reason he kept moving forward even when the world around him seemed to have shifted. And now, the news of his death has sent shockwaves through those who knew him and those who only knew of him. At 48, Brandon still had so much life ahead, moments yet to be lived, memories yet to be made. The cause of his passing has not been publicly detailed, leaving a cloud of mystery that only deepens this sense of loss. What is known is that his departure leaves a void, not just for his children, but for the family, friends, and people whose lives were quietly shaped by his presence. Kelly Clarkson, despite the turbulent end to their marriage, shared a complicated history with Brandon, one that cannot simply be reduced to legal documents and headlines. Behind the scenes, there was laughter, shared dreams, and years of partnership that brought them both joy and challenges. Love, even when it ends, leaves an imprint that cannot be erased. The bond they once shared is now frozen in time, a chapter of her life that will forever carry his name. In reflecting on Brandon's life, it's impossible to ignore the intersections of ambition, love, and the human desire for connection. He was more than just Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband. He was a father, a son, a man with his own dreams and struggles. His story reminds us that public perception can never capture the full truth of a person's life. There are layers To every smile, every photograph, every appearance, stories that only the closest confidants will ever truly understand. His children will grow up with their own memories of him, fishing trips, bedtime stories, and the quiet moments of every day. Life that mean more than any award or headline. They will carry forward the lessons he gave them, consciously or not, the importance of resilience, the value of laughter, the reality that life is unpredictable and precious. In the days and weeks ahead, those who loved him will gather to share stories, to laugh through tears, to hold on to the pieces of him that still feel alive in their hearts. And while the public may move on to the next big headline, for his family, this loss will echo for years to come. Grief, after all, doesn't follow a schedule. It lingers, reshapes, and slowly finds its way into the fabric of daily life. As we think about Brandon's life, it's worth remembering that behind every celebrity headline is a real human being, with triumphs and flaws, joy and pain, hope and regret. Brandon's journey had all of these. And while his time on this earth was shorter than anyone expected, his impact on his children, on those who loved him, and even on those who only knew him from afar, will continue to ripple outward. Life can change in an instant. One day, someone is here, their voice, their laugh, their energy filling a room. The next, there's only silence where they once stood. It's a stark reminder to cherish the people in our lives now, to speak the words we hold back, to make the memories we keep postponing for someday. Because someday is never promised. Brandon Blackstock's story is one of love found, love lost, and the enduring ties of family that remain long after the romance fades. It is a reminder that every life, no matter how public, is built on private moments, and those moments are what truly matter in the end. His sudden passing leaves us with a bittersweet truth, that the measure of a person's life isn't in how it ends, but in how they touch the lives of others along the way. And maybe that's the final thought we should hold on to, that somewhere in the quiet spaces beyond the noise of fame and heartbreak, there is a place where all the laughter, love, and connection still exist, untouched by time or loss. Brandon's chapter here may be over, but his story lives on in the hearts of those who will never forget him.